Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania, in 1942. His working-class upbringing instilled in him a strong work ethic and a deep empathy for everyday Americans. Biden's family later moved to Delaware, where he attended the University of Delaware and Syracuse Law School. After a brief stint as a public defender, Biden entered politics, winning a seat on the Newcastle County Council in 1972. His political ascent continued with his election to the U.S. Senate in 1972, at the young age of 29. Biden's early Senate career was marked by tragedy when his first wife, Nelia, and their infant daughter, Naomi, were killed in a car accident just weeks after his election. Despite the devastating loss, Biden persevered, taking his Senate oath of office from his son's hospital room. He would go on to serve in the Senate for 36 years, becoming a respected voice on foreign policy and criminal justice issues. Biden chaired the Senate Judiciary Committee, overseeing contentious Supreme Court confirmation hearings, including those of Robert Bork and Clarence Thomas. As a senator, Biden was known for his ability to work across the aisle, forging bipartisan coalitions on issues such as crime prevention and violence against women. His long tenure in the Senate and his reputation as a pragmatist would later prove invaluable as he navigated the complexities of the presidency. In 2008, after an unsuccessful bid for the presidency in 1988, and a second attempt in 2008 that faltered early, Biden was chosen by Barack Obama to be his running mate. The Obama-Biden ticket represented a historic moment in American politics, bringing together a young, charismatic senator from Illinois and a seasoned veteran of the Senate known for his foreign policy expertise and ability to connect with working-class voters. Obama and Biden went on to win the 2008 election, ushering in a period of hope and change after the tumultuous years of the George W. Bush administration. As vice president, Biden played a key role in advancing the Obama administration's legislative agenda, including the Affordable Care Act and the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, which helped to pull the country out of the Great Recession. Biden's deep understanding of foreign policy also proved invaluable to Obama, who relied on his vice president's counsel during crises in Libya, Ukraine, and Syria. Biden's ability to build relationships with foreign leaders and his reputation as a straight talker made him an effective emissary for the Obama administration on the world stage. The two men developed a close personal bond, with Obama often referring to Biden as America's best vice president. Following 2 terms as vice president, Biden chose not to run for president in 2016. However, the election of Donald Trump and the deep divisions that were exposed during his presidency led Biden to reconsider his political future. In 2019, at the age of 77, Biden announced his candidacy for president, framing his campaign as a battle for the soul of the nation. Biden's campaign emphasized his experience, his empathy, and his ability to unite a deeply divided country. He pledged to restore America's standing in the world, to combat climate change, and to address income inequality. Biden faced a crowded field of Democratic challengers, but he ultimately emerged as the party's nominee, choosing Senator Kamala Harris of California as his running mate. The 2020 presidential election was one of the most consequential in American history, taking place against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic, a national reckoning on race, and a deeply polarized electorate. Biden campaigned on a message of unity and healing, promising to build back better after the tumultuous Trump years. On November 3, 2020, Biden defeated Trump, becoming the oldest person ever elected president of the United States. Biden took office on January 20, 2021, facing a multitude of crises, including the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, a struggling economy, and a deeply divided nation. His first priority was to address the pandemic, which had claimed the lives of over 400,000 Americans by the time he was sworn in. Biden immediately signed a series of executive orders aimed at slowing the spread of the virus, including a mask mandate on federal property and increased testing and vaccination efforts. In March 2021, Biden signed into law the American Rescue Plan, a $1.9 trillion economic stimulus package that provided direct payments to most Americans, extended unemployment benefits, and funded vaccine distribution and other public health measures. The American Rescue Plan was a major legislative victory for Biden, providing much-needed relief to individuals and businesses struggling during the pandemic. Section 5. Navigating a turbulent world. Foreign policy, challenges, and triumphs. In addition to the domestic challenges he faced, Biden also inherited a number of foreign policy crises from the Trump administration. These included the ongoing war in Afghanistan, the rise of China, and Russia's increasingly aggressive posture in Eastern Europe. Biden moved quickly to repair relationships with America's allies, many of whom had been alienated by Trump's America First policies. Biden also took steps to address the climate crisis, rejoining the Paris Agreement on climate change and setting ambitious goals for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. On the international stage, Biden faced criticism for the chaotic withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan in August 2021. However, he also received praise for his handling of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, rallying NATO allies to impose tough sanctions on Russia and providing military and humanitarian aid to Ukraine. Section 6. Whispers of doubt, age, health, and the shadow of 2024. As Biden's presidency progressed, concerns began to emerge about his age and health. At 79, he was the oldest person ever to assume the presidency, and his opponents frequently sought to portray him as mentally unfit for office. These concerns were amplified by Biden's occasional gaffes and misstatements, which were often seized upon by his critics as evidence of cognitive decline. Public opinion polls showed that a majority of Americans had doubts about Biden's ability to serve another term as president. A poll conducted in January 2024 found that only 37% of Americans believed Biden should run for re-election, while 59% said he should not. The concerns about Biden's age and health were not limited to Republicans. Many Democrats also privately expressed doubts about whether he was up to the demands of another presidential campaign and a second term in office. These concerns were heightened by the fact that Biden had not faced a serious primary challenger in 2020 and had not had to endure the rigors of a full-fledged presidential campaign in several years. Section 7. The decision, Biden's historic withdrawal from the 2024 race. On July 21, 2024, after months of speculation, Joe Biden announced that he would not seek re-election as President of the United States. The decision, delivered in a televised address from the Oval Office, marked a historic moment in American politics, as Biden became the first president since Lyndon B. Johnson to decline to run for a second term while eligible. In his address, Biden acknowledged that his age had been a factor in his decision, saying that he had concluded that he could not in good conscience ask the American people to elect him to another 4 years in office at the age of 82. He also cited a desire to spend more time with his family, including his wife Jill and his grandchildren. Biden's decision not to run for re-election sent shockwaves through the Democratic Party, which had been counting on him to be their standard bearer in the 2024 election. It also upended the 2024 presidential race, creating a wide-open contest for the Democratic nomination. Section 8. A legacy forged in resilience, personal tragedies, and political perseverance. Joe Biden's life and career have been marked by both triumph and tragedy. He has experienced the highest highs of American politics, serving as a U.S. Senator, Vice President, and President. But he has also endured unimaginable personal loss, losing his first wife and infant daughter in a car accident and later his son Beau to brain cancer. Throughout it all, Biden has displayed remarkable resilience, drawing strength from his family and his faith. He has often spoken about the importance of turning tragedy into purpose, and he has sought to use his own experiences to connect with and inspire others. Biden's empathy and his ability to connect with people on a personal level have been defining characteristics of his political career. He is known for his warmth, his humor, and his willingness to listen. Section 9. Biden's place in history, a look ahead. Joe Biden's decision to withdraw from the 2024 presidential race marked the end of an era in American politics. His presidency, though brief, was consequential. He led the country through the COVID-19 pandemic, oversaw the passage of historic legislation, and restored America's standing in the world. Biden's legacy will be debated for years to come. His supporters will point to his accomplishments in office, his empathy, and his commitment to bipartisanship. His detractors will criticize his handling of the Afghanistan withdrawal, his age, and his perceived lack of charisma. Only time will tell how history will ultimately judge Joe Biden. One thing is certain, He will be remembered as a decent, honorable man who devoted his life to public service. As Biden himself said in his farewell address, "It's never been a good bet to bet against America. And it's still not a good bet."